What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to Straight Shooting with the Boys. It's week 12 edition. Got the boy J Lo here. Got Diaz.
Yes,
What's
sir.
up,
Yes,
y'all?
sir.
Before we
What's up?
start,
What's up?
I'm gonna give a quick shout out. We have a babysitter here. Her name's Alyssa Daniel. Her boyfriend Issa Silva is the starting point guard of Stanford Cardinal. Started the last three games. They went 2-1. So I just want to give
Nice,
that
nice.
quick shout out. Give that quick shout out real quick. Maybe you guys have seen him at some point, hopefully. But just give that quick shout out to him. Anywho, back to football, which we're here for.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, we got the Niner football coming off our first shutout since 2019. We shut the Saints out. No one has scored in the second half on the 49ers in four games and in the last six quarters. Even though there was some scares in this game, there was a couple. I was like, oh shit, I was about to score, and then Huff comes in and saves the day. I was like, oh thank God. I think I texted you
Yeah,
at that point too. I was like, oh, it's fucking inevitable at this point. But
yeah, yeah.
what you think about that? I mean, we still are obviously the number one defense in the league. There was
We,
like eight categories that we're leading the league in. It's like rush yards per game, yards per game, points per game. I think it was passing touchdowns or passing, not passing yards. I think it was passing touchdowns.
yeah, passing
I think
touchdown.
overall, yeah, yards per game. Like there was a lot of stats where it's like, oh shit, we lead the league in a lot. Um,
Yeah,
Nick Bosa leads the league in quarterback hits. He's got like 30 quarterback hits this year.
and being held. That dude gets held every play. I'm watching the
Oh,
game and I'm like,
it's
he has his
ridiculous.
whole arm around this dude's neck, and there's not calling shit. I'm like,
So
it,
I know we had talked throughout I think the first half we talked at the halftime, and
yeah,
you were like, man, we're getting fucking manhandled. This is crazy. We're the physical team, but I feel like a lot of it was like the rest were just letting them fucking demolish us. Like Jimmy G was
yeah,
getting his shit beat in. Like he
yeah.
got
I
hit
know.
so in the face
Yeah,
like three times.
if that was Tom getting hit like that, they would have been calling
Oh yeah.
penalties. But,
Oh yeah. Like I understood where you were coming from, but at the same time I was like, I don't know if we're getting beat like that or if they're just like they're getting away with a lot and they're catching us on all the ticky tacks, like the George Kittle hold on like the 60-yard
yeah,
touchdown. Uh, like George Kittle's like, yo, what am I supposed to do? He's like yanking me to the ground and then I yank him for 5 seconds and
yeah.
penalty. Same thing on the offensive line. Like they were beating the shit out of our offensive line, but a lot of it I think was what are we supposed to do? Like they're calling us for every little thing, and they weren't calling the Saints for nothing.
Yeah.
And that's a
So
physical team too.
I actually did some research on that. I think the head coach for the Saints got into the ear of the refs ahead of the game. There had been a lot of conversation just about how physical we had been on defense and on offense, and he kind of prefaced that I think at the beginning and saying just to keep an eye on us, which I think
Mm-hmm.
let them focus on us a little bit more. And I know refs have to still go into the game, like obviously eyes wide open and pay attention, and they got them on some bad calls too. But I think it was more leaning towards us, and I think it just comes down to we like I said, we're physical. We're that type of team. We beat up teams, and over the course of the game, we continuously hit them to the point where you start seeing people fall out. You start seeing people go
Yeah.
out with injuries and that kind of stuff, and that's typically our identity. That being said, and you said it, and I agree with you during the game, is Saints have that identity too on defense. At least
Mm-hmm.
they definitely do like to beat you up and hit you, especially when they're healthy. They had their whole
And they
defensive
were,
line in.
yeah.
They had their whole D line in.
Their cornerbacks are pretty solid. They're like number 7 in the league in pass yards. They're
Yeah,
a really good
yeah,
pass defense. So
yeah. They're off. It's a physical team for sure. That defense is a physical team. That's why they brought in Matthew. That they definitely wanted that identity to be physical. So they came out there. They came ready to hit us. Luckily with our offense, and I think it's gonna continue us in this direction, this is what I like. So people are expecting with all these weapons for us to have these crazy points, and we should. We got in the red zone what 4 or 5 times.
five times or something like that.
Yeah, so we should have definitely had more points than that.
I know.
That being
And
said,
sorry to cut you off. You mentioned red zone. The one drive that drove me fucking nuts was we got it to like the 4 yard line and we passed it three times. Like,
yeah,
and then we went for it on
yeah,
fourth and we ran it. It was like, bro, what are you doing? Like, fucking,
yeah,
just run the
yeah.
ball.
Oh my god, Play calling. Sorry, World Cup's on, you guys. So I know we're a football team, but USA is playing, so I got to represent the USA. But um, anyways, yeah, no, dude, it bugged me for sure. Play calling in the red zone is definitely gonna have to send them be something that they look at. But I mean, our defense, like we said, our defense showed up in the red zone as well. It does get hard once you get in that
Yeah.
5 to 10 yard distance. It's hard to score points. I mean, that's just the NFL all year, all around. And if you don't
Yeah,
have a mobile,
this year was like there was like a stat that was like so many less touchdowns this year compared to like the
yeah,
last 4 or 5 years. So it
and the
is
teams
around the league.
and the teams you see that are efficient in the red zone typically have scrambling quarterbacks, which we don't. So,
Mm.
the Jalen Hurts, the Justin Fields, those kind of guys, Lamar's, and even Mahomes. When you got guys that
Allen.
can move with their feet, that gives the receivers more time to kind of move around the end zone. Which with us, it's 1-2, and we have to throw because McGlinchey, and I'll say it again, McGlinchey's garbage. Every time we were getting hit, it was off that right side, and it wasn't necessarily Burford's fault. They were literally just bringing people, sliding the defensive end into Burford, bringing people right over the top of him. And McGlinchey's going, "Who do
What
I
do I do?
block?"
What do I
And
do? What do I do?
yeah, and
What?
Burford's getting ran over by 3 people. So
Yeah.
he's trash. I'm gonna continue to say that. At this point, I'm almost going Makovich starting over this guy. He's bugging me, and maybe putting him in, like I said, in bunch formations, that kind of stuff, where we're trying to be a little bit more powerful up front. But otherwise, like he's definitely he's
Liability.
our weak link in there,
Yeah.
and we're gonna play a team that has Bradley Chubb. We've already faced him once this year, and they're gonna go out there. They're gonna throw his ass right over McGlinchey because that's what they've been doing. They've been putting their best pass rusher over our worst offensive lineman and saying,
Yeah.
do something about it.
Which makes
Um,
sense because if you put your best pass rusher on the other side, you're basically negating your best pass rusher, and it doesn't make
yeah,
sense.
yeah, exactly. Because you're putting him against Trent. There's no reason to do that.
Yeah.
So it makes sense game plan wise to put him over McGlinchey. But that being said, like if we have to run with a 2 tight end set and have one of those tight ends stay and help, have Juice stay and help, like we're gonna have to. It's gonna be a rain game, so we're gonna definitely have to get back to the basics. It's gonna be running through the tackles. It's gonna be a lot of hopefully bump and grinds. I'm kind of okay with that because it aids to our. At least it gives our defense a little bit of an opportunity to
Yeah.
play with that type of offense. Our defense is the number one defense in the league, but against a powered defense offense like that, kind of worries me because the last team we played that had that many weapons was Kansas City, and we we watched how
Yeah.
that game went. So
In that game,
it's
though,
different. We
in
weren't
that
healthy.
game, exactly, a lot
Yeah,
different, a lot
it's
different.
different. We're definitely a
Unhealthy.
different defense right now.
Yeah, unhealthy. Lots of confidence because of what just happened against Atlanta. It was a lot
Yeah,
going on
yeah,
in that
yeah.
Kansas City game. I don't think that Kansas City game replays itself the same way.
I
Um,
think our defense could play against any offense. I would like to give as many as many
yeah,
opportunities and assists for that offense because to Miami's credit and to McDaniel's credit, they're doing some good things over there. I'm not scared of them by any means. If it was sunny, it'd just be our offense versus their offense. See what they could do.
actually, the rain might actually help us a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If it,
I'm not mad at
if
it.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
I'm mad that we're
I
gonna
hate the
be there
rain. It's
and
like the
stoked.
fourth. That's true. There's like the fourth game though this year we played a big game and it rained. It rained against the Chicago Bears on the first game of the year. It rained against the Seattle. No, not Seattle. It was the Kansas City Chiefs. I think it rained
Yeah,
there and it
yeah,
rained on an away game and now it's raining in this game. It's like goddamn, we can't get away from the goddamn rain. However,
yeah,
this could actually benefit us because the receivers are just straight line speed receivers. They got some
yeah.
fast receivers and they got Mostert who's fast as well. However, our defense, number one run defense, I don't imagine the run game is going to give up,
Be a factor.
especially if Armstead comes back. I feel like that's just going to be a help. Like I'm not saying play him the whole game, but I think him in there on running downs is going to be a big help.
Oh yeah,
Um, and then actually like this week we got Ebicam back, and I actually liked a couple of times they bunched Ebicam and Charles Minihue, and then just another defensive tackle together on one side, and on the other side it was Bosa by himself. And I kind of like that on passing downs because what do you do? Do you double team Bosa and leave those
yeah.
three over there by
Oh,
themselves?
yeah.
It's unfair when they can do
Or
it.
do you slide that way and let Bosa go one on one? No, I agree. I think we're doing some good things on defense, and a lot of it I think is coaching, but it's also just will and want. I mean, like I said,
Yeah.
they moved the ball down the field, and then we said nope. It's definitely that there's a different type of energy on that defense, and I like seeing that. Even on the offense, there's just a little bit more of a confidence I'm noticing. With the players, like just when they walk around, I think having McCaffrey, having these weapons, I think they just it
Yeah.
doesn't feel the same as it did at the beginning of the season. So
And I don't think
uh,
Jimmy's being like, because they keep saying game manager. I don't feel like he's the game manager. I feel like, yeah, he does throw a lot of short passes, but like, the short passes are also basically our run game in the first half. Like, we don't run the ball that much in the first half anymore. We're really leaning on
yeah,
Jimmy's arm to get us down the field, which even Jimmy Ward said, like, he's like, we struggled on offense. I didn't even realize we were struggling. They were just moving up and down the field. We weren't on the
yeah,
field that much. Like, what are you guys
all
talking
game.
about? Like we
We
had a
got on
scoreboard
the red
to,
zone 4 or 5 times.
yeah,
That right there. I mean, it could have easily been 35 zeros.
yeah.
So our offense, by not by any means did we struggle. That game, like I said, we played a good defense. People think because the Saints record that they're not. I mean,
They just have
their
bad
defense,
quarterback.
yeah, and the defense hasn't been healthy all year. Like they. Just
Hmm.
like us, when we aren't healthy, our defense doesn't look the same as it does when we're healthy. Like that's just common sense. You know what I mean? You got guys out there that are playing that aren't meant to play. They're positional, situational players. They're not guys that play 60 minutes. So
Yeah,
they played a good game. I mean, we shut them out on defense, and that's just what we do. Like I said, that's our identity. We beat you up, and we say, go try it, try to
yeah.
get some
So
points on the
I don't
board.
know.
But
I think Alvin Kamara had like 7 carries for 13 yards and 2 fumbles. I was like, that's rough.
that's
And
that's
then
a bad stat line for a guy who was averaging 100 yards a game. I mean,
I think we were talking about earlier in the year. Would you rather trade for Alvin Kamara or Christian McCaffrey? And I think we both said Christian McCaffrey because he kind of offers a different dynamic in the pass game. But Alvin
yeah,
Kamara was in our minds was just as good as Christian McCaffrey, and that defense just obliterated him. Fred
yeah,
Warner
yeah.
took his
He's
soul from
definitely
him.
in that. He's in that same category as Christian McCaffrey. He can still catch out of the backfield. He's still a weapon on that offense. It's one of those things where, and like I said, I think that's why the statistically, we've seen some games where people have gotten some yards on us, and we're like, how are we the number one defense? But as the game starts to wear on, if you don't play a team with a quarterback that can just change the game, like we're gonna hit you. We're gonna continue to hit you, and it goes on the other side too. On our offense, why I say we don't struggle on offense, we have the ball for 3 quarters of that game. I mean, when a defense can go out there and get that much rest, like you're gonna get beat up on the defensive side for them, and then on our side, our defense is gonna come out there fresh and ready to run. So
Yes.
it goes kind of both ways. I think, and I said it during the game too. Shanahan almost pre-plans for the next game. Like he runs plays in this game
Hmm.
towards the end of the game to kind of set up next game. So I really can see us this week because we passed so much coming in. Miami's going to come out there thinking, let's bring some pressure, let's do some stuff, and then we're gonna run some plays that I think are gonna go right in between that pressure and aid to
And,
McCaffrey. So
and Miami doesn't have the defensive personnel that the Saints did. So
no,
bring the pressure. You bring the pressure. I mean, we're gonna probably beat you up over the middle because the linebackers aren't as good as
no, not even
the
close.
Saints linebackers. So
Chubb is a pass rushing defensive end. He's not a linebacker. He hasn't been a linebacker. He's definitely Von Miller that esque of a player, and Von Miller was able to get exposed a lot of the time in the passing game. So yeah, I can see Kittle, I can see Ayuk, even Jennings. That they're going to open up that middle of the field, and then you're going to probably see a couple of passes down the sidelines. That Jimmy was a couple of
mm,
throws away from some big plays too.
yeah,
Like just off, and it's because he's having to rush the throw and just throw it up as he's getting hit. That those
yeah,
throws weren't
so
able to get
rash.
there on the money, but
I think I like to. I think we're gonna see a couple of Debo screens this game too.
yeah,
Just had a feeling. Which
just to try. I think we're going to
everybody's
allow
saying
that
Debo's
pressure.
having
Go ahead.
everybody's saying Debo's having a bad season. I don't see it. Like he's
Nah,
having. He's just not the main person. On last year, he was the only person. This year,
yeah.
he's not.
They
There's
said
so
it.
many people.
The announcers touched on it a little bit. There's only so much pie. There's only so many, so much pieces that each player can get. So at some point, you want to take some of that pie away from Debo because it was showing in his injuries and the way that he was being used. I mean, now that we don't have to do that, why would we do that? Like, it makes no sense.
Right.
He still
And
draws attention.
I think there was four different receivers, or three receivers and one tight end that had like six catches in this last game.
Yeah.
Ayuk had like six catches, Debo had like six catches, Jennings had six catches, and I think Kittle had six catches. And it was like he's spreading the ball around. There's like so many,
Yep.
and then you still have McCaffrey who can go for 10 catches. Like
Yeah.
it was just the way they were playing. They literally played to stop McCaffrey. They did not let anything underneath for McCaffrey, which gave everybody else the opening. And with that, I haven't really seen the intermediate passes, and then we started seeing the intermediate passes this
Yeah,
last
we
week.
started seeing some balls downfield, and to Jimmy's credit, man, he's making those throws. There's some throws, like I said, he didn't get, but that wasn't necessarily on him. It's a lot of it's just timing and him getting hit as he's throwing the ball. He got hit a lot in that game, so hopefully we can address that this week. But Miami's going to see that tape, and they're going to start trying to bring some pressure. So I'm hoping that Shanahan has some stuff dialed up, like you said, some screens, some underneath stuff that he can kind of take advantage of that and pull them back a little bit. But
Absolutely. Um, so let's get the bad news out of the way. Mitchell's out again, rest of the regular season with another knee injury. I think it's the other knee this time, not the. So I think the first one was his left knee. I think this one's his right knee. Might be vice versa. Same injury, just the other knee.
yep,
Out for another 6 to 8 weeks. He looked like he was coming in strong and running really well. A lot of people didn't like the second half grouping. I actually liked him in the second half because one, it kept him fresher. Um, and two, it was like a change of pace. Like the second half, you come in with Mitchell, and it's just like a bruiser. He's fast, total
yeah,
different perspective. And it was like, man, that was actually a really good, smart idea. It didn't work out. Obviously, he got injured. He'll be back for the playoffs, hopefully. But we got to see some Jordan Mason sighting. He looked good. Could have been
yeah,
because the defense. It could have been because the defense was exhausted. I'm not sure, but he was running for 5 to 10 yards on every run he got in the fourth
yeah,
quarter and closed the game out. So
yeah.
we'll see. He could be the goal line back that we needed.
At the end of the day, like I said, I said it to you earlier today. Our other backs are good. I mean, they're not bad backs. They're not Mitchell, so I'm not gonna act like they are. But at the end of the day, it's just having backs that can at least carry the ball, that can take some of that pressure off of McCaffrey. We've seen him kind of his knee kind of bug him in the game, and I think if that was a Panthers game, he's already out and he's done. Him being on the Niners, I think he was like, "Nah, let's figure this out. Let's get something
I
on
want to
here and
play
let's
again.
keep going."
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, people talk about his injury issues, and a lot of people were starting to mention that, like, "Oh, here we go." But he got back in the game, and he still was still running the ball hard. So it's not like
Mm-hmm.
he's soft or he's trying to get hurt. I think we need backs that can do that. Hopefully, we get both backs there, Mason and
TDP.
TDP, and we can at least, like you said, in that goal line situation, like put somebody in there that can just lower their shoulder. Because TDP is the same type of back. When he's in
You
there,
know, Kyle's bringing up Tevin Coleman though.
oh yeah. Coleman's gonna get some carries. we're about
God damn,
we're
he
about to
coming
see
back
Cole.
again.
We're about to see Cole World one more time for a few more weeks. So, hey, that
God
dude's a Niner. He wants to be a Niner. It is what it is. We'll see some more Coleman. We'll see
You
some
know who we
more of
haven't
the other
seen?
back.
You know who we
What's
haven't
that?
seen this year? The Niner of all Niners. We haven't seen Dante Johnson all year.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we haven't had to. But the good thing is that Gibson. I mean, that Gibson pickup has been huge for us because he's been solid.
He's been really good.
He's allowed Hufanga to kind of do his thing the way that they want to use Hufanga. Ward's able to come out there in those nickel packages and play that nickel corner, which I'm actually not mad at. There's times he gets beat, but there's also times that he's physical, is
He's
able to make
physical.
some
Yeah,
plays.
he's
So
physical.
yeah, so
So
he's
they asked the 49ers post game. They asked I think it was Dante Whitner actually because Dante Whitner played with Gibson when Gibson was young, and Whitner left the 49ers, went to the Browns.
yeah.
And so Dante Whitner asked him, he said, "How has Gibson been for you?" And Hufanga like got emotional, almost started crying. It was like, oh shit. Like they had like a really good connection, you could tell.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm actually not mad. A lot of beat reporters and like the Grant Cohns of the world, they think that this is Jimmy Ward's last season with the 49ers, which would suck. I like Jimmy Ward. He's a good free safety too.
Yeah,
But
well, let's the Grant Cohns of the world also said Hufunga was going to be a bust. So,
that's
so
actually a fact. That's
I'm not
true. He
gonna.
did say that. He said
I
he was
believe.
slow and not good at football.
Yeah, that's a bunch of BS. I said it from day one coming out of USC. This kid was going to be a stud, but it's one of those things. They do it. They have to be overly critical, and yeah, there was times our safeties get beat. There's times that our safeties don't aren't there at all times, but they can't be there at all times. People mess up. I think they get highlighted there because of how good our front seven is and how much our front seven does. Our linebackers do all kinds of stuff, so they expect the safeties to kind of live up to that level. And Hufunga's he's won some of these games for us. So
This
for
actually,
anybody,
the shutout this
yeah,
last week was because of Hufanga.
was because of
Because if
Hufunga.
Hufanga
Yeah,
did not hit, he was gonna score a touchdown. That was a touchdown. He was
he was already
dragging
there.
Greenlaw
Yeah,
into the end zone.
he was already there. It was like his momentum was going to be in the end zone if Hufunga said. So
Yes, sir.
at the end of the day, you do your part. The Hufunga getting choked up and that kind of stuff. It's because he knows like it's this is much of a team game. This is a much of a team defense that I've seen that we've had in a long time. And
Yeah.
there's always different people doing different things. Warner came up, caused the fumble when they were driving. It's you can they all count on each other, and that's what I think separates this defense from any of the defenses we had before. Is they miss their assignment. There's somebody behind them that's there to catch to catch that slack. So I'm not worried
There,
about it. Like I said,
there was a
I
clip I saw. I'm not sure if it was on Facebook or if it was on YouTube. There was a clip I saw because Dante Whitner brought it up. He said, "Hey, I had a fumble against the Saints like in that exact same area." And it was like
I remember
10 years ago in the playoffs, he
I
snapped
remember that play.
Pierre Thomas and he fumbled, and
Yeah.
then that was the same exact spot where Hufanga just created this fumble. Um, I don't know. It was pretty dope. I'm gonna see if I can find that clip and I'll insert it if I can.
Yeah, I remember that play, and
Right here.
any Niners fan that's watching this right now is gonna remember that play because I just
Hell
remember
yeah.
seeing Thomas just
That was
fucking drop to the ground. I'm like, he's out. that was a hit.
yeah.
Whitner came up big in that game, and
He
obviously we
didn't
don't
even
like
know
to
it was
see.
a fumble. He didn't even know it was a
No,
fumble. He hit him so hard that he went to the sideline to like get everybody hyped, and he was like
yeah,
everybody behind him was like he looked behind him. He was like, oh shit, everybody's in a pile.
there's a
Uh,
ball. There's a
that
ball
was
there.
that was the beginning of Dante Hittner. That
Yeah,
was that was
yeah.
the creation of that. Yeah, it was a good game. All right, so this week we got a big game. We kind of mentioned it earlier, but we got the 49ers versus the South Beach 49ers. Uh, because they have our running backs, two of our running backs. They have our
Yeah. Half
offensive
our team.
coordinator. They got some of our coaches.
Some
They
defensive
got so
players. They got
yes, so many players over there that are ex 49ers for the last couple of years. So this is a team that really knows us, knows how we play. But in saying that, our team knows these players. Uh,
yeah,
we know Tyreek because we played Tyreek so many damn times and he destroyed us in the Super Bowl.
yeah, we did.
So there's nothing hidden in this game. It's a big game. Our neighborhood friendly Cowboy fan Berto told us that we suck basically, and that we have to prove something. I don't think we have to prove anything. The last year we did the exact same thing. We came in and we just started smacking people in the mouth. The longer the season goes, the more strength the 49ers gets.
Yeah,
2 years. So I don't think the 49ers have anything to prove. They know who they are, and the league knows who they are. At this point, I think we just need to put pieces together. So I think our
yeah,
defense is as long as it gets healthy, that defense is solid. But
yeah,
our offense, as long as we can keep the gelling going, because we still have Christian McCaffrey, who's still 4 or 5 games into this offense. We're still adding stuff to this. Um,
yeah. I think
it's
people
just to
forget
be
that. Like
real,
he didn't come in that long ago. Like people
yeah,
are
and
like,
I and just like literally like 8 games before, like 3 games before that, Jimmy Garoppolo. Like I know he was our quarterback last season. That was a different playbook though.
Yeah,
And coming
yeah.
into this, Kyle had a different plan for this year, and
He
it
wasn't
didn't
even
go. So now,
practicing with the team all off season. The dude was off to the sidelines throwing footballs. Like he didn't have a
exactly.
playbook. That dude wasn't. People forget to realize like this team just still hasn't even. And I said it. I think that the second the chemistry hits, I mean, it's starting to get there, and especially on defense. I think it's there. But on the offensive side, I think once everything kind of gels, it's starting to get there. Debo's starting to do his thing. Ayuk's doing his thing. McCaffrey's starting to see his thing.
It's like
Everybody's
you
falling
you
into their
see stuff.
parts.
It's not like at the when Jimmy first came in, the Seattle Seahawks game totally different because they were preparing for Trey Lance, had to
Yeah,
get Jimmy Garoppolo. It's totally different. But when you had teams preparing for Jimmy Garoppolo, you could tell that was just like, wow, they're on a different page. Him and the
yeah,
receiver weren't on the same page, or whatever it was. And now it's like all those little things. It's like, oh, they're just like barely, just
yeah.
a second, a fraction
Just
of a
off,
second off.
just
Like,
off. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's not one of those things where they're completely just.
or even like Debo running the ball. There's a couple of times where I saw him running the ball. Last year he would have scored a touchdown, but this year because you have different offensive linemen, they go right, he goes left, and
Yeah,
it was because he's used to like the other guys, and he hasn't got used to these guys yet. So I think they're really close. I seen there was a couple plays, not last week, the week before, where Debo I saw particularly where he could have scored easily if he just followed the block, but he went a
yeah.
different way because he
He
wasn't reading it the
cuts it
same
out.
way.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, like you said, there's a couple plays this week where Jimmy missed. Christian McCaffrey that would have been a touchdown. I think there was another tight
Yeah,
end.
yeah.
Was it not Warner? Was it Warner?
It was
It might
Kittle.
have been Warner.
Kittle,
Kittle.
Kittle in the end zone. Yeah, he
Yeah.
threw it to the inside instead of throwing it to the outside.
I
Kittle broke out,
so I
and
watched
he
that
threw
play
it.
again. I actually don't think he was throwing it to Kittle. I think he was throwing it to Ayuk behind him
Maybe,
because
had
Ayuk was
had
wide
he
open.
watched. Yeah, yeah, but had he watched that progression, Kittle would have been open too. Kittle was open. Kittle was
Yeah.
open to his outside shoulder. If he throws it to his outside shoulder, that's a touchdown. So if he
It
wasn't
looked
throwing it
like
to him, understandable. But then that should have been a little bit higher. Ayuk's
yeah.
already had a sky for receptions, anyways. You know he could do it. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things. Like I said, it was he was a little bit off. Not enough to say
But
like he's played a great game. As much as he's done positive, I'm not even gonna stress about the negative. Like we had one
mhm.
turnover that was taken away, but that turnover was only there because of that hold. People are like, "Oh, he got saved there," but he didn't get saved there. The pick got thrown because that hold, like the hold stopped that receiver from running his route. He threw it
Yeah.
straight to the defender because he was expecting his receiver to break. So it's one of those things where
It's like
he was
small,
slightly off,
minute
but
things.
yeah, there might be exactly. If you can hammer those out, we're demolishing them. Kittle
Yeah.
gets a touchdown. Ayuk, that pass that he threw to, or was it? I think it was Ayuk or McDonald maybe. Ray. One of those passes, it was like it was slow. It didn't get there, and it gave enough time for the DB
Oh,
to
yeah.
recover
He
to
got
get to
smacked.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he got hit.
Because
So
he was like right here, and yeah, he got
yeah,
destroyed. I know
yeah.
what you're talking about. Yeah.
And then it kind of floated, and then like had he just if he was able to deliver that pass, he's wide open. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
there's a couple of times too. Like I said, the ball's getting there slower than I want it to. Even last game, like not this game, but the game prior, that Ayuk touchdown. Like he throws that a little bit faster. It's a touchdown without Ayuk having to go up, without Ayuk having to take a hit. He scored, so whatever. But it's one of those things where like there's just a little bit of things, but it's things that he can watch film. He can go to the side and he can pay attention,
Yeah.
and he can hammer those out. And at the end of the day, it's Shanahan's job to look at that stuff and go, how are we going to get this dude protection? Because when he has protection, he's throwing
He's good.
dimes.
Yeah.
He's throwing dimes. So get him
Which I
some
said,
protection. Even if we have to take out a weapon, like we're not playing against a defense that we have to worry about, like having to spread the ball out, do that kind of stuff. We have to add extra linemen in there, extra tight ends to block for him. Let them do that. We have receivers where we can run with Ayuk, Debo, Kittle, those three alone, and McCaffrey out the backfield. You can
we're
run. You
good.
can get some routes run. Like
Yeah.
give them 4 or 5 seconds to run routes. Ayuk's going to make any corner unless he's getting double teamed. Ayuk with
Look
enough
bad.
time is going to run a route and make any corner look stupid. He does it to
That's true.
everybody. He did it last
Second,
year to the Dallas Cowboys top corner, blah blah blah. Like he made that dude look dumb a few times. He did it last game. He did it in the game before that. Like he made some corners that are supposed to be studs.
look
You know,
bad.
spin
Yeah,
around. So he's one of the best
I
route runners in the league.
I agree. I think that I agree with you. I agree with everything you said. People aren't realizing that Jimmy Garoppolo was on the sidelines, not with the playbook.
Uh,
If we played the Broncos right now, we destroy the Broncos. If we play,
yeah,
who else do we lose to? We lost to
The
the
Bears, we
Falcons.
destroy the Bears.
Yeah, those are. I think we talked about this personally. We haven't talked about it on here yet. I think the way Kyle runs his offseason, I don't think he runs his offseason as hard as everybody else. So I think the injuries
Uh,
that are happening at the beginning of the season happen because that's when they're first getting into football shape. So our
yep,
first month is basically just getting into football shape, and then after that, you see that the players get stronger, 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 stronger. They stop getting
yeah.
injured, these small injuries. They're playing a lot. They play more together.
And
So I
even in
think
this game, it was one of those weird weeks with traveling and with the holidays and with everything else.
mhm,
We didn't practice hard, and look what happened. We didn't look, to me, we didn't look as physical. Now that being said, like you said, we played a physical team. You know that could have been a part of it, and it did just definitely contribute to what we look like. But I still think no matter who we're playing, no matter what's going on, like we have that has to be our identity. We have to go out there, we have to hit people, and we have to slowly break people down because that's when you start to see a clear separation as the game goes on with our offense and their defense. So
mhm. Um, yeah, I don't know what I was saying. Yeah, I just think the players are getting stronger and better. Injuries are stopping. But yeah, we got the South Beach 49ers. What's the matchups you're looking for?
so I mean, and I said it. We've said it the last couple of weeks. I want to see what our DBs do. I mean, at the end of the day, like we go so playing devil's advocate, we go through the playoffs. We could beat any team in the NFC. I'm comfortable there. But then we get to the Super Bowl. You got Mahomes and the Chiefs and their weapons. You got Miami and their weapons. You got Josh Allen and his weapons. Like you got AFC teams that are high powered that have a lot of receivers that can spread you out and they can beat you. So for me, I want to see us put together a full. And again, there's going to be catches. Like people think that teams are just going to shut down all. When you have Tyreek Hill and you got Waddle and they got weapons, so they're going to get some
Mhm.
catches. They're going to get some big plays. We definitely have that bend but don't break defense. But for me, I want to see us win some of those battles. You know, some of those routes that are being ran. Like Ward was winning a lot of those when E-Man was there, and I know E-Man's not there now, and it's different. It's a different type of feel out there, but we have to be able to do that. We have to be able to win some of those big routes. Like we're gonna get beat a few times, but we also got to win some of those. And there was a few times Ward did it in this game, but they don't necessarily have the
Yeah,
Tyreek Hills in that kind of game people. So I need to see that from them. Front seven's going to do what they do. Our linebackers are going to do what they do. I'm not stressed about that. No one's going to run the ball on us. Not effectively. Not since the Falcons. That's going to be the last game we
that
ever. Yeah.
that wasn't really effective. Actually, I
No.
went back and looked at. I think they only had like 70 yards rushing. It was just besides the quarterback. The thing
Yeah.
that they were able to do was they were falling forward, so they were getting 2 yards,
Yeah.
3 yards
Yeah.
each,
They
so it
were.
stopped the
Yeah.
losses.
Yep. So
Uh, that's a good point. The one thing I think
that.
I'm looking forward to, I haven't seen Domino, I can't say his name. Lamore, I haven't seen him get picked on, except last game he got picked on by Andy Dalton a couple times. So this game he's going to be facing a number one wide receiver in either Tyreek Hill or in Waddle. Both of them are very good and game breakers. I'm looking forward to seeing that matchup. If he can hold his own, I think the 49ers win comfortably. If he
Yeah.
doesn't hold his own, it could be a tight one. It could be a bad one for us or a tight one. So it
Yeah.
could either be a
Yeah.
shootout or it's going to be, we took them out. So I agree with you. I don't think the run game is much. I think it's all secondary. And I think
Yeah.
Tre'Davious Ford, even though he got beat up a little bit against D Hop, he came back in the second half, and I don't think D Hop had. I think he maybe had one
No.
catch the second half.
Oh yeah,
So
he had 7 catches in the whole game for 70 yards, which is
yeah,
still that's minimal. That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
So people have to understand stat lines. Stat lines are deceiving. You can get a couple of big passes for 30 yards, and you have 60 yards now, and then you don't get any catches the rest of the game. Like, so my thing is, we're going to allow a
True.
couple of those big plays. It's going to happen. I'm already understanding that it's going to happen. But one, because we don't bring a lot of blitzes typically, and I hope we do make Tua do some. Make Tua actually have to play some a little bit. So bring some Huff, bring some Jimmy Wards off the edge and stuff. But with that being said, if we're going to allow some big plays, I don't want to see us get beat over the top, which we haven't this year. There hasn't been a play where it's like 60-yard bomb, touchdown, that type of thing.
That
Like,
was the one play against the Kansas City Chiefs. The only play I
oh,
can
yeah,
think of.
yeah, yeah.
And that was a I don't know what Tre'Davious was doing on that play. He was looking in the backfield and just got
Yeah, and he
beat.
fell, and he just fell, and then the wide receiver's open. So
Yeah.
we're not really getting beat as far as like the routes just getting outworking our corner. So it's going to happen. There's going to be those plays. I want to see that us to maintain that bend but don't break. We got in that red zone area, played tough, played defense, do what we got to do. I'm not, like I said, I'm not. It's going to be a good game. I can't say that I'm not stressed about this game, but I feel more comfortable in the team that we are right now at this point in the season than when we went into the Chiefs game, than when we went into some of these other games. So I'm confident. I'm confident that we're going to do that. I want to see that happen. I want to see Armstead. I pray to God he comes back because I really
Yeah.
feel like he changes
He's a
it.
big piece. Yeah.
He
He
when
stuffed the run.
when he's there, not only does he stuff the run, but we can bring the 4 down linemen and not blitz anybody, and we're able to still get pressure because Armstead. It's one of those things where like on the stat line it's not going to show, but as a D tackle, that dude draws attention, and you get Bosa 1-on-1 with any tackle in the league, he's going to beat him. So even like we were doing some different things to try to give that help to Bosa. Now we won't even have to. You can literally line up with 2 D tackles, 2 defensive ends. You can put a Monahu or a Ebicom on the other side, and Armstead's going to do his part to draw that blocking. And if you don't block him and you decide you want to fan out to Bosa, he can make plays in the backfield. He's athletic enough to do that. So
Yeah.
I seen McGill. I finally seen that dude come on the field, and he did what I expect him to do. He made some stops in the run, So I like to see that. I like to see some of these guys that I know could be factors in this defense just get in there. And again, situational players. They're not players that are going to be in there often, but they're there to do that. But
Make a
when
name for themselves.
the rest of the game, though, that 60% of the game that the linemen are playing, we need that Armstead. We need, we need these guys that are typical starters. So
Yeah.
him being back's going
I
to be
think
big.
that was something I wanted to ask you because you said Bosa's going to get beat any tackle 1-on-1. So Bosa is pretty much good for a sack a game. Like I think he has at least a sack or a half a sack every game he's played
Yeah,
this year.
he's averaging that. Yeah.
Yeah. So would you rather have a player like Bosa average a sack or get what he's getting, a sack a game? Or would you rather have a player get 3 or 4 sacks in one game and not have a sack for a few games?
I would rather have the average a sack a game because you could get 3 or 4 sacks a game, and those games you're typically going to win those anyways, right? So
Yeah.
you're getting 3 or 4 sacks a game. You're probably up on the scoreboard at that point. Like you're beating the other team. In my opinion, though, like that sack, especially like when he gets the sacks, like the sack that he got in this game, it was at a big point. Like it was at a turning point
Yeah.
where they could have scored. They could have they could have got some points on the board. Like it
Changing
stopped
things.
an easy field goal, and then they missed it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's one of those things where like when it happens, even if it's just one time a game, he's putting pressure on those quarterbacks all game. Like you said, he's leading the league in quarterback hits. He's leading the league in pressure. So it may not come up on the stat sheet again, getting 3 or 4 sacks, but he's basically getting 3 or 4 sacks without getting them. Like, yeah, he's not flipping the field position, but he's putting the pressure. He's doing what he needs to do. And again, getting the 1 sack every game, I would rather have those turning points in every game than have it one game where we're clearly going to win that game. You know what I mean? Like it's
Because that sack is usually, if he gets 1 sack a game, that means that one offensive possession for the opposing team is wrecked, regardless. You
done.
know there's
Yeah,
going to be
exactly.
a wrecked unless you got a Patrick Mahomes. But yeah, I agree. I would rather have the 1 sack. Also, he has like he plays the run game extremely well too. So
Yep.
he always usually gets at least 1 or 2 tackles for losses too. So like, I'd much rather have a Nick Bosa than say like Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons is a good player. I'm not going to deny that. He's one of the great DNs slash outside linebackers in the
Linebackers,
league.
yeah,
But
for sure.
he doesn't play the run like Nick Bosa does. Like
No,
you run at Michael Parsons. You don't run at Nick Bosa. You run up
yeah,
away from Nick
no.
Bosa. And teams still can't do that sometimes. I was wondering what your thoughts on that was.
No, yeah,
Uh,
100%. Being an ex defensive end, I would have rather have my personal statistics. Would have rather have had a sack a game than had 4 sacks in one game and then go 3 games without a sack. Because in those
yeah,
3 games, what the hell was I doing? You know what I mean?
yeah.
I would rather
That means
help
the
my
team was
team
able to
every single game.
successfully. They were able
Yeah,
to
they
successfully
were able to
scheme you
stop
out
me.
of the game.
Yeah, they were able to
Yeah,
stop me and keep me from doing what I do, and that's not acceptable for me. So and I know for Bosa too, you can tell every play, it's he wants that sack. So it's not one of those things that he takes pride in just being able to beat those guys, and dude's fucking hilarious, by the way.
I know.
he's a player at my heart. That dude is fucking funny, and I definitely was one of those guys. Like, I didn't talk a lot of shit, didn't really get in people's faces, but like I would say random shit, like just dumb shit, and you're like, what? but
Yeah, he's definitely like
it's
he's
funny.
like a nerdy funny. He
Yeah,
doesn't say
yeah.
nothing.
He's goofy.
Like, oh, it's
He's
so
not.
oh, so it's so hard to get a sack after he just got a sack. It's like, come on, dude.
I
Uh,
I agree with that. well,
so
well said.
my last topic that I have is not necessarily a 49er topic. Kind of is, kind of isn't. But New York Jets, if they had gotten Jimmy G at the beginning of the season, where would they be at right now?
Dude, that
So I think
defense is so
they're 7 and
that
4
defense
right
is
now.
so good. That defense is so
Yeah,
good. I'll just say it right now. Tell your boy their fucking defense is good. They got
solid.
weapons on offense. Losing Brees
Yeah,
Hall kind of did hurt them, because I think had they had Brees Hall, I think they're still doing what they would do even with Jimmy. But that being said, yeah, if they had just a average quarterback there, Zach Wilson's young. I would be okay with a trade. They can take Jimmy
I
next
think they
year. We
have
can
to
take
get.
we can get something out of them.
I don't know if the 49ers could let Jimmy G go, honestly. Let me say this about the Jets real quick. I believe Zach Wilson's career in New York is done. Like, he offended every defensive player on that team, and that's the best part of the team. So I think he's done in New York. If he's not, he'll have to prove them wrong and everybody else wrong.
Yeah,
However, I think if Jimmy G was in New York right now, they would at least be 9-2
yeah.
because their defense is solid as fuck. They had a good running game at the beginning of the season. They got a bunch of good young receivers. Good O line. Their O line's not bad. And Jimmy G
I'm
it
still
doesn't
I'm
make
still
us.
mad. We could have had right now. We could have had Fields and Sauce, or, or
Mm,
we could have had Sauce and fucking Brady. It's oh man, dude, Sauce Gardner is so fucking good.
yeah, I just
He,
think.
he- I was saying it. Remember coming out of college last year? That dude is he's a stud. He's gonna be the
Yeah,
the next great DB for sure.
he's
But
good.
yeah,
But
no, with Jimmy, yeah, Jets are definitely better. Like I said, just with a mediocre quarterback, but with Jimmy, a good quarterback, yeah, they wouldn't. Some of these games they should have easily won, and it was Zach Wilson just not
don't
doing what he's supposed to do. The fact that
throwing
Mike
for
White
2 yards.
outplayed him, like Mike White's not. He's not no crazy. He's not a quarterback that'll take you to the Super Bowl, but he's
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 good.
he's better than Zach Wilson, which says a lot. So
I think I don't know. I think a team believing in their quarterback is a lot. I think the team believed in
that's
Mike
true.
White, so they played harder.
Team that wants
Same thing
team
as
that wants to
same
play for your quarterback, yeah.
same thing for the 49ers. That's why I don't think we can get rid of Jimmy G. The team plays different for Jimmy G as they did Trey Lance. They
That's true.
believe
But
they'll win
but
with Jimmy G.
you bring in a Brady or you bring in a Aaron Rodgers. I mean,
I
I
mean, that's
think
the
I think they
only.
might.
Those are different. That's a different. Like, you bring a Brady in, you're not. The team isn't gonna be like, oh, we can win with Jimmy G. They're gonna be like, oh my god, he has 7 rings. Look at
Yeah,
him over here. Aaron
that's
Rodgers, you're like, oh, that's God and football cleats. Like, let's
yeah.
play. But
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if you trade for Zach Wilson, it's like, hey, we're gonna bring Zach Wilson.
Oh no! I didn't. When I
Kyle.
said we'll trade, when I said we'll trade Jimmy G, I didn't say we'll trade him for Zach Wilson. Fuck that.
Oh, okay.
We don't
Because
need we don't need another young quarterback. I'm cool with that. No, well,
I mean, Mike Daniel just said that Nick Bosa practices swim moves inside the locker room. You imagine if Kyle traded for Zach Wilson? He'll practice sacks on Kyle Shanahan. He'll be like, Kyle, put your
yeah,
ass in the ground, deep in the ground
yeah,
too. Like I'm gonna
yeah.
bury you right now. Like it would not be
No,
good for Kyle Shanahan if he traded for Zach Wilson. I do
Zach,
not
Zach,
think
Zach Wilson can stay there,
there's
or
like
end up
five. There's like
somewhere.
five quarterbacks that I think would be like, okay, we'll take that guy over Jimmy G. I don't
Yeah,
think Trey Lance. For some reason, I don't think the team connects with Trey Lance. They don't believe that way. I do think there's five though. There's like Patrick Mahomes, but ain't no one gonna get him. There's Josh Allen, ain't no one gonna get him. There's Lamar Jackson. I doubt anybody's gonna get him. But then there's
no, he's telling them to sign.
Brady and Rodgers. Well, they're gonna franchise him though. He'll be franchised. But Brady and
But I'm
Rodgers
saying
are the
if
three
someone's willing
players
to
that I can see.
give us some weapons, yeah, that's if I'm looking at the offseason, I don't want to go that far ahead, but when I'm looking at the offseason, that's what I feel like Shanahan and Lynch, if they want to maximize this team's potential to win a Super Bowl again. I say again because I still think we're in that hunt for it this year. um, those two quarterbacks are the guys I need to be looking at. They're both going to be unhappy. Neither of them are on winning teams right now. You get one of those guys over to our team. Shit, take Jimmy, take fucking Mitchell, take whoever, bring them over there and give them McCaffrey, Debo, and Ayuk and fucking Kittle. It's done.
Yeah.
That being
However,
said though, let's go, Jimmy.
no, I'm
Let's
good
let
with that. I don't think Kyle could put his ego away for Brady and Rodgers because Kyle Shanahan right now controls where the ball goes. Like he tells Jimmy, like, "Hey, look right, look at these two options." He'll look left, look at these two options. Brady and Rodgers are like, "Kyle, shut the fuck up, call the damn play, and let me do my job." I don't know that
shit.
Kyle would be able, and that's probably why Kyle passed on Brady the 4 years ago, or whatever it was. Like, hey,
Well,
I'm good.
hot take here, you guys. Then fucking get rid of Kyle Shanahan too. Fuck that guy. If we have a choice between Kyle Shanahan or Brady and Rodgers, Kyle Shanahan, goodbye. We'll bring in fucking anybody. We'll bring in Saints coach, and we'll fucking go out there with Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, and we'll destroy some teams. I'm telling
I
you
agree
right
with
now,
that.
if we took Brady back then, and Shanahan's the reason why we fucked that up. We take Brady back then. We don't have to trade 3 first round draft picks. We have solid corners right now with Sauce or somebody in that realm. You got weapons on the team still because we still nothing changes there, and you still have McDaniel's probably because fucking why not? Like fucking he has a chance to play with Tom Brady. McDaniel's isn't gonna leave. Are you
Uh,
kidding me right now?
I don't know. Someone offered him a coaching job, a head coaching job. I think he probably would have taken it still because he just seemed like he never expected it. Like he was like, oh, should I get a head coach? Hell yeah, let me do that.
But
I do think if we got
you think
Brady,
he's thinking head coach if we have a Super Bowl in 2019? I don't I don't
yeah,
know. I don't know.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So
for sure. I think his aspiration was always to be a head coach. I think our offensive lineman, his aspiration, or defensive lineman coach was never an aspiration to be a head coach. He just wanted
no.
to be a defensive lineman coach. Where like all of our defensive coordinators and offensive coordinators, even the passing game coordinator that went to be an offensive coordinator in New York, like they're all them aspirated to be where Kyle is. So I do think he would have took it, especially if like if he would have won a Super Bowl, like it would have been a good. They would have offered him it wouldn't have been the Dolphins. He probably would have got a coaching job somewhere else. However, the Dolphins
True.
was the best gig ever, so can't be mad at him.
Yeah,
But
he made the right choice going to the Dolphins. That he knew what he was doing.
both of the coaches from the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree, though, are winning coaches. So I don't know. It's pretty good tree to come from. Um,
D'Amico's gonna be next, man. He's
I
going
know.
somewhere next year.
Gotta go
But we'll talk
try.
about this year. Let's get a Super Bowl this year, and then at that point, like I said, we got to do what we got to do to get one of those quarterbacks there. I'll make
I
a
think
call to John Lynch myself.
I think if we get Super Bowl this year, Jimmy G is going to be our starting quarterback next year. Much to chagrin
I
to
still
everybody.
I still don't think so though. Personally, like again, he's played some great games, but you can put some tape on though that there's some plays where he's choosing the check down, and if he chose the deep wide receiver, it's
Oh
a touchdown.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where if you have a chance to upgrade your quarterback, even if you win a Super Bowl, you're gonna upgrade the fucking quarterback. Do I
oh no,
think
I
he
agree.
starts?
I agree with
Do I
that.
do I
I
think do I think he starts over Trey next year if we don't have any other options? Yes, I will say
I
that.
agree.
I don't think we go away from Jimmy to Trey. At this point, Trey's 20 years old. He has fucking 2 years before he's even the league average of rookies coming into the league. Like he's young, so he has plenty of time to develop and to, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But do we move on to fucking Brady or Rogers or even a fucking like another solid veteran?
Who you got in
Maybe.
mind? Who you got in mind? I don't. Russell Wilson? Hell no.
Fuck no. Uh, I don't
That's what I'm
know.
saying. Like the only two that I can see that because you have to think. Okay, so like let's go in history, right? Like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they had Brad Johnson. They kept Brad Johnson, so they stayed. But then you had like the Ravens had Trent Dilfer. They went away from Trent Dilfer. That was okay because that team didn't believe in Trent Dilfer. They believed in Ray Lewis. Like this team believes in Jimmy G. Like all of the players, not just like the offensive
That's true.
players. The defensive players are like, yo, Jimmy G got us here. Jimmy G did this. Jimmy G. Before Jimmy
Yeah.
G, we were losing. Now Jimmy G's here, we're winning. So like, because the whole team believes in Jimmy G, you can't go get just a little bit better quarterback. You can't get
Carr?
a guy a quarter. I don't know. I love Carr, and you know that I love Carr. I don't know that he's better, that much better than Jimmy G to make
I,
the team believe he's the right move. I think that's a good move, especially for Kyle Shanahan's offense. I like Carr because he's able to move. He can pass the ball deep. He's good at he throws a lot of underneath routes, like he does with Kyle's thing. He's a West Coast offense quarterback. I like Carr a lot. I don't know that the team would accept that. I'm not sure.
I, I think again, everybody loves personality and they love players. Obviously, you know what I mean. So when you look at it from like a from an experience standpoint, I don't know that it's necessarily like a talent standpoint, right? Because if you're looking at talent, yeah, you're not going to go from Jimmy to Trey. Even though Trey has a more upside, he hasn't proven that he could
That
do
he can
that.
do
But
it.
a
Yeah.
car quarterback who has been on shit teams in the Raiders, like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I
Shitty,
think
shitty
you
teams.
can present that being a West Coast guy, being from Fresno, you know, being that type of person, and you see him. Everyone watches these interviews, right? You see how much he loves football and how much he loves like he hates losing. You know what I mean? So I
Hmm.
definitely think though like a car because of what he elevates in the deep ball. For receivers like Ayuk, for receivers like Debo, for guys like Kittle, you start to go like, damn, you start to think like I can get those 60-yard passes now. I don't have to run those 10-yard routes and do everything myself. Like
Oh yeah, yeah.
those guys,
I think I
if those
I think
guys
the
get on board, I think if you get the heart, which is Kittle, Debo, you get Trent, you get those kind of guys on board. I think the rest of the team
that's
follows
the
suit.
hard part. So I think
But
like the easiest person to convince will be Ayuk because his game is directly affected by Jimmy G.
yeah,
The easiest one. The hardest ones to convince is going to be Kittle, Trent, and fucking Debo. Trent because he hasn't won until he got here. Debo because he got paid with Jimmy. Kittle because he got paid with Jimmy. You know what I'm saying? Like Ayuk will be the easy one to convince. Like, hey Ayuk, we got this new quarterback. He's gonna be like, fuck. He's gonna tweet out again, deep ball me. He's gonna tweet that out again. However, I think the hardest three is gonna be the three you just mentioned, and those are the most important three. I think Trent is the most important one. If you can convince Trent, I think Trent Williams will convince Debo.
but
Kittle,
you see, you as an O lineman, if I go and I'm watching tape and I'm watching my quarterback check down to a running back every 4 or 5 plays, and I'm watching wide receivers go wide open, and wide receiver coach is going, look at Ayuk,
mhm.
he's open down here. As a lineman, you don't want to block for fucking hard 2 yard runs. You want to fucking pass block and let him throw the ball. You know what I mean? Like
Oh, I'm with
I
you.
think and Debo and Kittle, them getting paid, they got paid because of their versatility. I don't know that they got that money because of what
Oh, they didn't
Jimmy
get
did
paid
for
because
them.
it wasn't because of Jimmy. I understand that, but they
No,
got
yeah,
paid by
they got
playing
paid
for
with Jimmy.
Jimmy.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
No, I get
it's
what
like
you're saying. It would be hard to convince them. I think for a quarterback that's established himself as like a top tier quarterback, I think it's a lot easier to do. It never happened with Trey because you just don't know. That's my
and I
thing.
think
I think
the
that,
only person to say anything negative about Trey Lance last year was Trent Williams. He said
yeah.
how hard it is to block for a scrambling quarterback. He's the only one to say a negative thing about Trent Williams or
Yeah.
Trey Lance.
I don't
No
think
one
I
else
don't think
said it.
anybody would though. I don't think even if we had fucking Andy Dalton back there, I don't think our team would. They're just not those types of players. I think you just seen it in their body language and the way they kind of walked around the field. Though they weren't happy about Trey
But he'll
being there. That's what
but
bothered
I'm
me.
saying what I'm saying if you can convince Trent Williams because he's the only one
Yeah,
that'll
yeah,
speak out. He spoke
yeah,
out like, "Hey, this is I don't like this because it's harder for me to block for him. I don't know where he's
yeah.
at." So he's like the only one who spoke out. So if he comes out and he's like, "Yeah, I love Derek Carr. That dude will make us a Super Bowl champ." I think the whole team follows suit. You might not
True.
get Kittle to follow suit because he's best friends with Jimmy. That's fine. Kittle, I don't know that Kittle's that. I don't know that he's gonna fit in here much longer because he's already being phased out of the
That
offense.
was gonna
But
be my next hot that was gonna be my next hot take. There's a lot of he's a great tight end.
oh
And again,
yeah, I just
I've been one of those guys that have been huge on Kittle because I like guys who can block. I'm a tight end that used to be able to block. You know, that's my thing. So of course I'm all about that. But there's plenty of tight ends in the league that can block. My thing is, and he does
he's
make some
already
great
been phased
catches.
out.
Yeah, he does make some great catches. He does do some things, but he's not doing anything. Kelsey, Goddard, you know, those types of guys who changed the game. He's not doing that anymore. So at this point, like, yeah, I agree. I think if you want to go with Jimmy, then we'll trade them as a package. You get Kittle and Jimmy. Go ahead, take we'll take Sauce from New York. They can get Kittle and Jimmy
Oh,
and
I'm back, guys. I'm back.
all
I don't know what
right.
happened. I don't know what happened.
Left out there for a second, but yeah, take Sauce, take Jimmy and Kittle. We'll take Sauce, and there you go, right there.
Yeah, I like it. I
There's the
agree.
massive trade.
I think Kyle Shanahan has slowly phased Kittle out of the offense. Like
Yeah,
he's had 2 games this year where he's had like a multiple target, like 5 targets or more.
yeah,
He's not a big game plan. Last like 3 years ago, he was the main focal point. Like we're throwing the ball to Kittle. Like
yeah.
this year,
He was.
it's like oh yeah, we have Kittle too. Let's get him a ball. Boom. Oh look at Kittle went for 30 yards. Okay, now let's go back to Debo or Ayuk
Yeah,
and
and
Jennings
when
and
you have as much weapons as we do, I get it. Like you're just not gonna get. You're not gonna get. No one's gonna have a crazy game. You know what I mean? Everyone's gonna have good games. Some guys might get a couple more passes than other guys just based off of schemes and stuff. But I get it. We're not going to have anybody on our team that's going to just go for crazy numbers. We're not going to have Travis Kelsey numbers because Travis Kelsey's. George Kittle's not going to get 10, 20 looks a game. Like, that's just not going to happen. So I get it. I understand our offense isn't meant to do that. We're not meant to have those types of players. Like, we don't need those types of players to be good. That being said, Kittle's still a fucking stud. So
oh
I
yeah.
don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think if Jimmy wins, the only guy there's a few guys out there that I would still go look at and still attempt to. I don't think we just say okay, we'll run with Jimmy for the rest of it or the rest of his career. But if we have to go Jimmy or Trey, I think we keep Jimmy and we say Trey, hey, you got some time to develop.
I agree.
You're gonna have to do that. So maybe throw
I
some
agree with that.
packages in there for Trey, phase him in there a little bit to where you got a good like a Taysom Hill type rotation. But yeah, he's definitely not going to be the future of the Niners anytime soon, in my opinion.
I agree. I actually wouldn't mind Taysom Hill on our team either. Taysom Hill's a beast. That dude was trying to
Dude's a
block a
stud.
punt.
Yeah,
He
the
was in
dude's a
there.
stud. He could play everywhere. Tight end, fucking quarterback, running back, defense, fucking plays special teams. Like that dude, that dude is
He was on
the
punt block.
epitome of a yeah. Dude is the epitome of a football player. I seen him on punt team. Like he's running down there making tackles on the punt team, like
No,
kickoff team.
yeah,
Like
he's the personal protector. He's the personal
yeah,
protector. He was in there on punt block. Like Jimmy Ward was like, "Yo, that motherfucker does everything: quarterback, running back, fucking tight end,
yeah,
fullback,
yeah.
receiver."
You're like that can't be him, right?
He was calling on defense covering Debo too. I was like, ah, damn.
That's what I'm saying. You're gonna see him on the fucking at safety. You'd be like, that can't be Taysom. Is that Taysom right now? Like
He
the fuck?
was everywhere. That
He's
dude was.
everywhere.
I like him.
He's
But
a
they
football
played.
player.
Yeah, they paid him for
Yeah,
that shit too.
he did. He got paid. He got paid money for that reason. So
I think. I mean, I know he's not a starting quarterback, but he gotta be better than Andy Dalton. And if you're not gonna
he's a
start James
football player, though.
Francis,
In today's league, you're starting to see that a lot more. Guys that can do multiple facets of the game. Cordell Patterson, Deebo Samuel, McCaffrey. You got guys that are out there that need to be able to kind of be able to move around the offense. You can't just have straight running backs, straight quarterbacks anymore.
how good would Cordell Stewart be today?
Whew.
That dude was so good.
Yeah,
He only played quarterback because they didn't know what to do with him back then.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it didn't exist. Football players didn't exist like
Uh,
that. But
oh man, well that's today's episode.
that's it.
Especially with the boys.
Lot of hot takes out there.
Oh, get rid of Kyle Shanahan. Get rid of George Kittle. Get rid of Jimmy G. Let's get Sauce Gardner. I like it.
Hey,
Uh,
it's Sauce Gardner
if
and
you,
that. Now that all being said, that with a Brady or Rogers, not just saying get rid of them and run with Trey. That's not the hot take.
Agreed. I think if you're gonna get rid of your coach, though, this is the year. You got Sean Payton out there. You got Jim Harbaugh out there.
Shit, shit. Jim Harbaugh might win a national championship. Me as a USC fan, I don't want that to happen, but but it might happen after what they did at Ohio
They
State.
just fucking demollywopped them. I know. I like was watching the game and I was like, oh, they're up by 10 points, I think, and then or no 13, and then
Yeah,
Ohio State kicked the field goal and then it was like 84-yard touchdown. I was like, oh shit,
they
it's so
blew that
bad.
game. They blew that game open. That being said, though, USC is about to represent for California. They're gonna do it.
Hopefully, hopefully,
Dude. It's been a lot of years of me watching this fucking team just fall off. Berto talks about it all the time. Fucking Pac-12 always screws himself over, and towards the end of the season, and then they're not able to compete.
because
So
there's only like one or two good teams. Actually, UCLA is good this year too, right?
yeah,
It's like
they
two
were
good
ranked
teams
up
now.
there. Usually, yeah,
Two good teams.
UCLA, and Oregon are usually competing, but it's
Yeah.
USC always shoots himself in the foot every year, and they lose to a team they shouldn't lose to, like they did this year. Utah's good though, so but they're going to the Big Ten in a couple of years, so we'll see how that
I
goes.
heard that. I was looking at it. Oh, excuse me. Man, I'm tired. Yeah, so that'll be good if they win. That'd be dope. Shaw just retired too, or stepped down as coach from the Stanford. That
Shit,
sucks.
we need to try to get Caleb Williams on the Niners.
What's he play? What's he do?
So he's the quarterback for the Trojans. Dude's
No.
Patrick
Well,
Mahomes
we can't be drafting any
reincarnated.
more. We can't be
What?
spending any more draft capital on quarterbacks. We got
I'm telling you, watch that dude play. That dude's Patrick Mahomes. He's gonna be Patrick Mahomes
Well,
again.
then we better trade Trey Lance and get at least a pick back, like maybe a third
Sure,
round pick or
sure.
something. Shit. God damn. We got no picks this year. God damn. We got like two picks, which is fine because we picked good in the last rounds anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
not worried about it.
nah, we got it. And plus, D'Amico Ryan's gonna get hired, so we get two more third round picks. Be
Yep.
great.
We have a few capital from the third round down, so we have a few picks.
Yeah. And we drafted well. We've drafted so well. Like we have a lot of good players that are young.
Yeah.
Like everybody on the team is like 26 and under, except like George Kittle and Jimmy G and Trent Williams. But everybody else is like 26 and under. It's like the youngest team ever. It's like fuck. Even like McCaffrey's only like 27.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
young too.
That's what I'm saying. To maximize this roster that you have right now, you have to get somebody in there that can do something with the amount of weapons we have. That's my only issue with Jimmy. Jimmy's playing a great games, and we have it with the way he's playing. We can win a Super Bowl. So that's a great. But to maximize that, like take us even that step forward, where we're not stressing every week about our fucking offense, it would be to get that one quarterback that elevates, that can
Uh,
spread those weapons around. So
I think we're also going to need a safety this year too. Gibson's old. Ward's probably going to
true.
be on his last couple of years. We need to get a
That's
safety.
true. That's true.
We got Huff. We know Huff's going to be there, but we need another safety. But
Shit, we need to go dip
that's
into
a
Oregon. We need to go dip into USC one more time. They got some more Samoan dudes out there that are looking like
Huff will
studs.
tell
So.
Huff will give them their 4-1 on that.
Yeah, oh
But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's a topic for the off season. Like you said, this
Yeah,
season
yeah,
Super Bowl or bust. We
Super
need to get
Bowl
there.
bust. That's it.
All right, y'all. That's it for us for week 12. Um, if you guys wouldn't mind liking and subscribing on this video, maybe even sharing it with a friend or two, we would greatly appreciate that.
Greatly
But
appreciate it.
other than that, check us out on Twitter Check J-Lo out on TikTok.
On my
He's got a
TikTok,
TikTok.
check my TikTok out. Comment on the page. I'll send you guys over the username. I don't know the
Oh,
username.
yeah?
I don't know TikTok like that, but I got I got a lot of followers on there. People are liking my content, so come on over.
He
We'll
might,
spread it around a little bit.
he'll twerk for you guys, too, if you guys give him
Oh
2 likes.
shit! Oh man!
But that's it, man. We're
You
out.
get us to 100. You get us to 100 subscribers. I might be willing to do it, but
Little twerk action. That's it from the boys, y'all. We'll see you guys next week.
all right, man. Have a good one.
All right.